Rodeo Houston is on its way. This year marks 80 years of concerts, calf scrambles, and cowboys, the world's largest live entertainment and exhibition. Over 1 million spectators and volunteers occupy Reliant Park every year. At the same time, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo boosts our economy and in its history has raised over $260 million for local students, scholarships, research, and endowments. Tonight, we'll discuss the inner workings of the rodeo. How does it all come together? I'm Ernie Manous, and this is Houston 8. Joining us tonight are Leroy Shafer, Chief Operating Officer, Joe Bruce Hancock, General Manager, and Skip Wagner, President and Chief Executive Officer, all from the Livestock Show and Rodeo, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Remember, before we get going tonight, that you can share your thoughts throughout the show on Twitter using hashtag Houston8. And welcome, gentlemen.
Good to be here.
I just want to start right off. We had something that wasn't quite up to date, even in our opening package, because things change so quickly. Up to date, how much have you folks raised?
$283 million after the contributions that were given away this past summer. So,
and by the end of this go-round?
By next summer, once we generate the profits from this year, we'll be over $300 million. Isn't that a great number?
That is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
How does it all come together? I'll start with you, Leroy. How do you folks pull something this massive together?
Well, we have a lot of help. 26,000, in fact, volunteers really make the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo happen. We're unique in the fair and festival industry. We have a very small paid staff, only about 100 people. When you consider the magnitude, 2.62 million people came to this show last year. It's the 26,000 volunteers that make it happen.
That is just phenomenal. How do you organize 26,000 anything?
Carefully.
Carefully?
Yeah, there are literally 105 committees, and the most amazing thing is our committee chairman and our officers would be the most important people out there. We turn over a third of them every single year, 3-year terms, and there's no business in the world that would actually try and have a third of their management new every year. But the culture of the rodeo, that creates innovation. It creates opportunities for people to move up, and so they just they get fired up and put on, what we've got out there.
Did you work your way up through committee structure?
No,
or did you just come in?
Joe Bruce did. I was a hired gun from the outside, so I came in on the staff side in 1992. Shafer joined in 1974. He had military training and other things, but we were not on the volunteer side. Joe Bruce
came in 1982 as a volunteer of the show, and actually came in from 60 miles away. So I came in from El Campo and did that for 25 years before I came over.
I didn't grow up in this area, and I see the culture that is rodeo, and there is something attractive, admirable about being involved in rodeo. Where does that come from, and how come other organizations don't have that same passion?
I'm not sure about that, other than the fact that here in Houston, as a volunteer of the Houston show, people really start depending on each other, and it's a social structure. You look forward to it. I've always kind of looked at it as a high school reunion that you have every year, because a lot of times you don't see these people for 6 or 8 months, but then the rodeo kicks back in, and you start those relationships back up, and then you spend 60 to 90 days communicating with these people daily.
Well, and Leroy, it's not just a job that you have during rodeo time. This thing is massive year-round.
Oh, it absolutely is massive year-round. We're actually planning 2013 show right now. In fact, Skip and I had a conversation last night about a potential entertainer in 2013.
And who would that be exactly?
It'd be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. Talk a little bit about the entertainment. How did that develop into such an important part of the show?
Well, I wish that we sitting here could say that we helped develop that, but we didn't. The show started in 1932. We're celebrating our 80th anniversary. They added a rodeo in 1938. If you work in this business, you soon know that those types of things usually don't pay for themselves. You have to bring in something that really brings discretionary dollar in. They brought Gene Autry in 1942. He also produced the rodeo that year. And we've been world-class entertainment since then. As we moved from the Coliseum out to the Astrodome, and we went from 10,000 seats to then 42,000 seats, ultimately 58,000 seats, now 72,000 seats in Reliant Stadium. You had to expand the entertainment to reach that. And you were talking about how people feel about the rodeo. We actually grew up with Houston. We were founded to help put Houston on the map. Every major city in 1931, 1932, west of the Mississippi, had a livestock show, or fat stock show as they called them then. Yeah. And so the leaders brought it in to do that. And as Houston only had 300,000 people then. There were only 400,000 people in a 16-county metro. So we've grown up with Houston, and we're part of Houston.
How do you decide who performs? And I mean no disrespect, but looking at you, I wouldn't think KISS would have been on the top of your list last year.
That's good. It's never who we want. It's who the 4 million Houstonians want. I say only half jokingly, if it was my entertainment, we'd have a bunch of 70s classic rock, and we'd draw about 4,000 people. So,
but that's what's amazing. You guys know what to hook into.
We do a tremendous amount of research. There's 8 different research instruments that we do. Now that the internet and people doing things online is available, it makes the research even that much more easy. The first constituency we look at is our season ticket holder. Our season ticket holders buy 62% of all the seats we sell. So we listen to what they want, and it's very easy for us to communicate with them. They buy 39,000 seats, but there's only 8,000 of them that are buying those seats. Some people have 4 seats, some people have 6 or 8. It's easy to talk to them. We have our next constituency is our membership. We talked about these 26,000 committee members. Some of them are season ticket holders, but a lot of them are not, so we talk to them. Then there's the general public, and most of those people buy on Ticketmaster. Now they buy online or they call in on their cell phones. We have their numbers, we have their email addresses, and we listen to what they want.
Is there anybody that the rodeo hasn't been able to get?
Oh, there's a lot of entertainers who haven't been able to get. Sure.
It's a business to the entertainers, and we are a family-priced ticket, and so there are some that if we were willing to charge, $100 or so, that we could probably get, but we choose not to, and so we've got a budget that we live within, and so it's generally that reason. There are a few that we just wouldn't book because they're gonna not appeal to our crowd. They may be a little more on the edge or over the edge than
Well, it's
we would
interesting
do.
to me because a lot of the acts that you have aren't currently touring, which means it is an effort for them to perform at the show. It's not that they just bring the show here on the road. They'll fly and they come, they bring their self together. So there's something very attractive about performing at the rodeo.
You've done some good research.
Yeah, well, I check into these things.
No.
What attracts an act to want to come to our rodeo?
Well, the first thing that attracts the act is obviously is money. What Skip said, we buy affordable entertainment, but we do pay market price. So that's a good thing. But the biggest thing is, wow, it is Reliant Stadium, or wow, it was the Astrodome, and now there's 72,000 seats there. They know that we sell 62% of the house as season tickets. They know that we have this constituency that's going to come to the rodeo in the general public. So an entertainer that might come to, let's say, Toyota Center and sell 16,000, 15,000, wow, I'm going to be in front of at least 60,000 people, maybe 72. So it's good for their career. That's a big part of it.
Now, another thing is there is a sporting event that's going on. Sometimes we lose sight of that in the carnival and in the entertainment and all that. But this is an important sporting event, too.
It's a huge sporting event, especially in the rodeo industry. There's only a couple of other rodeos that, as far as dollar values and purse, are in the same league with Houston, and that'd be Calgary and the NFR. The rest of the rodeos.
There's no one from an attendance standpoint that's even close. I think we're probably 4 times the next biggest, nearly 5 times the next largest rodeo.
Because of the fact that you've got 74,000 people coming to an event.
Is there any trouble with it having grown as large as it has?
Not really. We can grow it larger, and a lot of it is the presentation technology. You're in Reliant Stadium, and you would think that when you're presenting someone trying to wrestle a calf or ride a bull that's a small area being used, but the technology with the screens I mean, I'll just say we were, big screens before Jerry Jones was big screens. We just hang them and they go up and come down. But that enables us to bring the show, to people in the upper level. If you're down close to the arena, you're getting the dirt, you're getting everything on you anyway. So I'm not sure that it is too big. I don't think it will be.
Well, we've talked about the entertainers coming in and seeing a crowd of 60 to 75,000 and how that affects some of the energy that's in the stadium. The Cowboys feel the same way.
What about
They're
the
used
animals?
to coming in.
I often wonder when the animals come into this size stadium. It's different than most rodeos these animals are at.
Right.
Does it spook them? How do you condition an animal not to think like, as much as we look and think, wow, look at all these people?
Most of these animals are so used to being loaded and unloaded and working their way through a set of pens that they're very comfortable. They're very comfortable coming in, and we have an off-site facility that we house the animals before they come into the performance. So basically, they're comfortable out there eating grass and sitting under a shade tree. They come in because it's performance time, and they get as fired up as the Cowboys do about. They know when they're walking in a stadium and it's air conditioned and there's lights and people, and they're getting ready to perform.
You bring up the complex, and I think a lot of people miss the sight of the fact that whole Reliant Park becomes yours.
It
does.
And
that's a massive amount of space. But right in the middle of it all is our dear Astrodome. Mm-hmm. Any news on that?
The only real news is that there will be news shortly. They're nearing the completion of what I think will be a final study that's going to get real numbers on the various options for what might happen with the Astrodome from a total refurbishment to tearing it down. And I think once they have real numbers, then they'll be able to look at the options, probably present something to the taxpayers, because anything to save the dome is going to take real dollars, and they'll have to come from the taxpayers because it won't make economic sense just based on the operations of the dome itself. And so I think that will be evaluated by the commissioners. They will undoubtedly ask us, ask the Texans, ask OTC and others for their opinion, and then I'm sure they'll make a good decision going forward.
I think people miss sight of the fact, too, that every month that it sits there, it's costing more money, too. So something's got to be done. It's costing money, and it's deteriorating, and it's the most valuable real estate there. So something really needs to happen. Either let's bite the bullet and put it into use that'll work well and be an economic generator for the complex, or let's get rid of it and use that space so that we can make the place better. Yeah.
We want to grow from 2.25 million to 3 million people out there.
When will you ever be satisfied, people? That thing is huge.
Maybe that's why we keep employed.
As long as there's more kids in the state of Texas, I think we probably need to continue our growth.
And that's the next thing we have to hit on. We talk about all of this, but the real reason for the whole rodeo is the scholarships and the kids. Address that if you can.
Well, this year we somehow managed to give away 599 $16,000 scholarships. How we didn't do 600, I don't know. But being accurate, truth in advertising, 599. So we take the net proceeds that come out of the show. They basically are used for three things. One is we will build reserves in case there's some year that we can't operate. That's feasible. We've had swine flu and bird flu scares. We all know what happened with 9/11, so it's important there be a contingency. Second, we have put money into every building project out there. So we build reserves that when the fate of the dome is decided and the place is expanded, we'll participate. But most importantly, we give it away, and we love building youth and education. And this year we will give away about $19 million, and that's what takes us over that $300 million mark. And the great majority is directly in scholarship proceeds. About $5 million of that will go to the junior show kids who show their animals, and most of them use that money ultimately for education. And then we have some grants and other programs.
When we started talking about this, they showed the calf scramble up there. Folks, very entertaining part of the rodeo every night. Explain what is actually going on.
Why don't we let Shafer do that? Because, he is a calf scrambler. So.
Okay.
Well, I started to say we turned loose 28 youngsters, but this year we're going to turn loose 30.
Oh, everything's getting bigger.
We have 30 youngsters and 14 calves, and you probably have seen it. There's a line out in the middle. The youngsters are on that line, and then there's a square. We turn the 14 calves loose on the other end. The youngsters have to catch a calf, put a halter on it, and then bring it back inside that square that's marked out down there. When they do that, we then give them a certificate that they can go buy either a registered heifer, or they can buy a market steer.
Now, is it all of them that get them back in, or just the first one that gets it back?
It's all of them. It's all of them.
Okay, so I've heard it
There'll
rumored
be 14 kids.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we even have a couple hard luck kids we usually end up awarding.
If you just had bad luck, they'll give you a certificate also. If you.
And Skip pointed out, I have been a scrambler. I caught a calf in 1959. We were talking about the scholarships. That's really secondary to the educational thing we do. We were chartered as a not-for-profit to educate the livestock industry, particularly young producers that are coming online. We teach them how to take care of their animals, how to manage the business side of it, how to manage the veterinary side of it. Over 16,000 of these young people will take part in our livestock show this year, and that's really an educational part of what we do also.
And explain also the livestock part of it. Everyone, I think, focuses what we were even doing here on the rodeo part, but with the adventure and all the stuff that goes on, all the animals, and I think I'm going to be milking a goat at some point too. I'm coming out for that.
Good.
But what else is there for people there besides just the rodeo itself?
Well, it's funny. People always ask if you could only do one thing, what would you do? And I say walk the barns, because there's nothing more unique than seeing those kids raising those projects, and so that's something you have to do. But with Adventure, we want an urban audience to understand the world of agriculture. So we show them that milk doesn't come from Randall's; it comes from a cow, or beef from McDonald's. And very educational exhibits that show the livestock industry and the way it works and the economic impact it has. And beyond that, we have the petting zoos, and we have the mutton busting, and we have the stages,
the birthing centers, and you can actually, the chickens hatching, and for a kid that was raised in downtown Houston, that's something that they may not ever see again.
And I have to assume over the history of the show that this has become more of a challenge for you folks because your audience has changed too as we become more urban.
You have to be
grown.
creative. You have to get something new. You don't want really the same thing over and over and over again. So that is the challenge that our exhibits and attractions department and our ag department have, to come up with something that people really want to come back and see next year.
Can you judge at all the impact that the show has on the economy for the whole city?
You want that one?
Absolutely.
They keep you very busy, don't they?
You set that up very well for
During our 2009-2010 show year, we did an economic impact study, and you might be proud to know that Dr. Barton Smith from the University of Houston, Professor Emeritus now, was very instrumental in helping us do that. We found out that we're worth nearly $500 million in annual spending in the greater Houston marketing area each and every year. We're equivalent to a company that employs 7,000 people being here in this area every single year. People talk about the gross national product. Well, in the regional national product, we had $275 million to this area every year.
That is amazing.
Yeah, the local taxing authorities will actually take in $35 million from our event alone. So those are taxes that we don't have to pay from property taxes, but $27 million is directly in taxes. The complex makes another $5 million off of our show because they have the parking and the stadium concession rights, and then there will be another $3 million in ticket taxes that are helping pay for the facilities out there, the $1 parking tax and the $2 ticket tax. So in the end, about $35 million, which ironically is about what it took to build the Astrodome when it was built back in 1965.
It's amazing. Most sporting events, as much as we enjoyed the Texans this year, and I did too, you come in, you go to the game, and you go back home. Where here, our exhibitors come in and they bring their families in, and they stay 2 or 3 days, and they eat at the restaurants, and they actually bring significant dollars in from outside the community, and we've really found that it's much larger than we thought.
And the ticketing price, I don't have as long a history as some of you might have with all of this, but it has stayed pretty stable. It's gone up a couple bucks over the time that I've even lived in the city, but you've kept those prices pretty reasonable.
Yeah, we didn't raise prices literally from 2002 when we moved into the stadium until 2 years ago, and we finally bumped them up a little bit. But we're very, very conscious. We view that as part of our charitable purpose, and we are successful economically. And if we wanted to be, we could raise prices. We'd still sell all the tickets. We know that from just the research. But that's part of how we give back to the community, is make it affordable entertainment. Our Wednesday value days are $10. For $10, you can go see Blake Shelton, or you can see Kid Rock this year, or who's the final one?
Band Perry.
The Band Perry. I mean, that's insane, but that works well, and we're happy to do it.
When you take in all of our ticket prices, that includes the suites and the clubs and everything else, we're about $29.95. Average ticket price. It was just released somewhere in the last month that the average concert ticket price in the United States last year went above $80. So that gives you some idea of the value.
Yeah, and a good portion of your ticket sales are those lower end sales.
We've got 17,000 seats, I think, that are the $18 tickets that we have, which are in the upper level. We've got, our basic field box, and I think it's one of the reasons we sell 38,000 season tickets, but that's $25 per show, and it just doesn't get a better value than
when
that.
you can see a family of four out there having a good time and the dad's smiling along with the kids, you know that there's value in what we're doing, because normally he's got a pained look if he's paying all the bills.
And you can make a full day of it. You can get out there on the weekends and during the week even. But
that's a very good point. When I pay $125 to go see a concert that's making that average $80 ticket price, I see a concert. When I pay $18 or $10 to see Kid Rock, I've got the entire Livestock show, the horse show. I get a rodeo. I get all those feature acts, everything.
Well, growing up out east, I would have never thought I would enjoy a rodeo. And coming to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, I have learned to enjoy the sport. Even if you're not there, it gets televised too, correct?
Correct. We actually are televised on our final Sunday and our Saturday. We have streaming all throughout all 19 performances, but you can go online and watch our performances, but we'd rather you come out.
Yeah, it's more fun
We'd
to come
rather
out
you
there.
come out.
But okay,
we don't really want to talk about that too much.
I'm getting old and I'm cranky, so I think to myself, there's so many people. We often talk about what's the busiest day of rodeo, which I guess is usually the Go Tejano. Is that usually one of your top?
Now it is. Our spring break has become phenomenally successful and therefore busy. Last year, was it the Wednesday of spring break?
That's correct.
The biggest attendance I think we had out there.
Okay, I want to know, what is the quietest day? When do the least people go, so I know I can go that day and it's quieter?
That'd be the Monday after the show's over.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
there's probably still a lot of people there.
It's kind of depressing on that Monday, but it's enjoyable.
The reality is, if you want to come and be able to walk through the barns, if you can come out, not spring break week, but sort of Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of the first or second week, then that's going to be the lightest public time. There's an amazing amount of activity because it may be very intense. From we may have the heifer show going on. We'll have cutting horse show going on. We'll have a lot of things going on. But simply to be able to get it and get out, that would be when I'd recommend.
Yeah, and we all know about Go Texan Day, where we all get dressed up in our Texas gear, but it's because of the trail ride that's coming in too. And how does that coordinate in with the rodeo? You've got folks coming from all over.
Right.
Well, it started in 1957. It was a promotion gimmick. A marketing agency that was working with the rodeo got some of the key show people to challenge media people to ride with them on the original Saltgrass Trail. We went from there to we're over 13 rides now, and we'll have 6,000 people that are coming in from these various trail rides. Since 1957 to today, it's become a tradition, and it does two things. It reminds people of our Western heritage and culture and what the trail rides really stood for in this community. But it also lets people know, hey, it's rodeo time.
It definitely lets us know.
Yeah, when you're behind behind those horses going down Memorial Drive, you're reminded, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not one to ever get up early, but I do want to go out and see them coming down on the.
Yeah.
That's kind of fascinating too.
It's part of the character of Houston, and it's so fun because we put on the boots, the Western values and all that, and we do that for about a 30-day period, and I think it does. Houston's a great melting pot. You look at the demographics of the people coming to the rodeo. It's every zip code, every culture, every ethnicity, every economic level. It is Houston, and it's really fun to have a community that just coalesce around an event that way, which is really unique to anything in the country.
We've got about 20%, I think it is, new customers every year that are coming to the show, which is pretty amazing.
It's hard to believe
when you think about 2.5 million people.
Do you spend much time marketing it outside of our area, or is it just people come?
We market outside the area. I would say 85% of what we market is in this area, but 22.7% of that 2.62 million people last year came from outside the general marketing area. Over 250,000 of those people came in conjunction with that junior livestock show. For every market heifer that comes here from, let's say, Trent, Texas, which is where I'm from, 7 people come with that heifer. Mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, brother and sister, and there's an ag teacher or a county extension agent, and all of that helps with this economic impact engine. So we definitely market in those areas.
Well, we hope that it's a bigger show than ever, and we thank you, gentlemen, for coming in and talking with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, each week, remember, we invite you to visit our home online at houstonpbs.org/Houston8. There you can read about the guests, learn more about the topic, and even watch past episodes. Next week on Houston 8, a look at Black History Month and the documentary More Than a Month. So that's next week on next Friday night, I should say, at 8 p.m. right here on Channel 8. Until then, I'm Marie Manous. Have a good week.